The Dale Jr. Download. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dale Jr. Download, another episode. This is 328, cranking them out. Mike Davis is here. Mike, good to see you.
Good to see you.
We have a great guest, a unique guest. We're sticking with the racing theme. Yeah,
we do that.
The Blue Jays are trying to win their second game in a row.
Coach, though, you know.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper with Mike Krukow, and again, it looks like a great evening for a ball game.
But it really does, Kuiper. I'm anxious to get this one started.
He was also a race car driver.
Starting the game for the home team,
Ted Lilly. We're going to hear all about that and why he might still.
Welcome to this American League matchup featuring the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jerry, get him in the studio. Let's get started.
Dirksen comes to the plate. Hitting left-handers is second nature for this hitter.
There he is, the man.
You said I wouldn't show up.
Oh, this is so neat.
It's so nice to be here. I don't know how to do these mics.
You're good. We can hear you from where you're sitting.
I may get mic fright. How about that? Woo. I was in the booth, you know, on TV for 15 years.
That's incredible.
While I was driving.
Yeah, like you must be 150.
Misses again. The count is 2-0.
It's funny. I was at Odessa, Missouri, and the headlines in the paper were Glanville hits 100. And I thought, hell, am I that old? And I read it, and I was the third guy to run at 100 different tracks.
What?
It was Kenny Schrader, Richard Petty, and me. Because I ran 7 series, you hit all the tracks.
Yeah.
And so in Odessa, Missouri, I hit 100.
All right. So, listen, I know.
Where are you going to go with that one?
So, I want people to understand. So, Jerry Glanville, a lot of people are going to remember you, obviously, as NFL coach. We're going to talk about that. But you were also a race car driver, and you were more of a race car driver than I think any of us in the room really know. And that's why you're here today, is to help us understand how you ran in 100 different racetracks, how you were running, and you're still driving today?
Oh, yeah, we raced this last summer down in Cordele. They now have these late modifieds, you probably read, where you have crate motors.
Yeah.
So you'll die. I drove a Camaro with a Ford motor. I goes, oh, my gosh, if Elliott saw this, he'd fire me.
He sends
because
this
Elliott,
towards
of course,
second
Ernie
base.
built my motor.
Oh, Ernie Elliott. Yeah,
And if he saw me in a Chevrolet. But now Chase is in a Chevy, so he can't say much.
Yeah. So, you're 80?
Going to be 80. Now, don't get me too old. Going to be 80 in October. This show could be canceled when I'm done.
He did say that. He goes, the good news is every time he's on a show, it either does great ratings or gets canceled. So he said it's going to be one or the other.
So this could be your last show. Don't hold it against me.
I'm not going to hold it against you.
Now, one time you walked down and wanted to fight me. Do you remember that?
I did, yeah.
And what I always did when I did something wrong, Bob Fisher was my car chief. And I said, Bob, he goes, Junior's walking down
towards the
car.
shortstop.
I go, am I wrong or is he wrong? He
That'll
goes,
do it
you
for
were
the
wrong.
Red Sox.
I goes, I was wrong? Okay. So then I took
Here's
a
the
different
manager's lineup.
mode of operandi. Now, your dad, about 25 years before that, came after me in Atlanta. So I said, deja vu, baby.
25 years before that?
We were in Atlanta, and your dad came after me. Your dad ran me off the course. Remember Rockingham?
Yeah.
Your dad ran me off the course at Rockingham on lap 4. So then we were in Atlanta the next race. This is Bush.
This guy has a great approach.
And we were coming out of turn 4, and I just put him right down by the infield.
Strike call on
Well,
the first
I
pitch.
found out he could run me off the course, but NASCAR didn't want me running him off the course. I got sent to the penalty box.
Oh, my God.
All right, we got one dispute at a time that we
Into
have to
right
unpack
field.
here. Now, why did you and Dale Jr. have it?
Puts it away for the out.
And where were you and when was it?
Nice work.
It was up in the east. You remember the track? Dover? The track was alive and well. Everybody was racing. I was coming out of the pits. And I had a good Chevrolet body. I had a pretty good car. And I came out. I thought I had room to come up and get up to the top. And Junior was coming out the top wide ass open. And I made him get out of the gas.
Yeah, we were in qualifying mode.
I was practicing.
Yeah.
So my qualifying
here has
lap.
success.
So this was so silly. But
Sanchez with a fastball.
you know I got Tony Erie Sr. as my crew chief from Gary. You probably remember the Erie's.
Really knows how to steal
Hot-tempered,
back.
probably.
Oh,
And so I'm getting my butt chewed. I'm thinking, you know what? I've gotten my ass chewed for pulling out in front of somebody, and so I was going to go down there and tell Jerry that he messed up. And I went down there and leaned into his car, said whatever I said. Jerry was like, I get it. I messed up. My bad.
What'd he say?
He said, if you ever do that again, I'm going to knock you into the fence.
I don't know.
Something like that. And I just said, I talked to my crew, my bad, my fault.
I walked away going, man, I can't believe I just said that.
Runner on first.
It's funny, I told your dad came back one time. I said, if you want to back up and let me out of the car, I'd fight better than I drive.
He's on first.
He goes, the hell with you. He walked away. Your dad gave one of those. Your dad and I were in an unusual relationship.
Really?
It was unbelievable. He did things for me that nobody in racing even would know he did. Including we went to buy a race team. Gary Cope drove a Pontiac and won the Daytona 500. I think the team was called First One. Anybody remember that?
For the Blue Jays.
Well, First One was for sale. So when I'm practicing with your dad said, I want us to buy this team. And I'll be the silent
After one, the score is 1-0.
He goes, it'll be in your name, and you and I will hold the team. And I said, why do you want the team? He goes, Barry Dotson's the crew chief. And a guy like Mel Vasey or something like that is building the engines. He goes, we got motors and we got handling.
His arsenal
and we'll get up front. And he goes, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do, you got to quit your other job to drive the car. Because everybody tells you got another job. I don't know what the hell it is. But you got to quit that other job. Your dad didn't care nothing about football. Nothing, you know. And he didn't care if I coached football. He goes, quit screwing around with that other job. That's what he told me.
So you're talking about this is the year when Derek Cope would have won the 500. That was what, 91?
Yeah.
So this was at when you were in the Falcons.
It was the year after that.
Okay, but you were with the Falcons from 90 to 90.
I was the head coach at the Falcons at that time. And your dad had taught me how to drive at Richmond.
Terrific at bat right here.
In fact, drivers, Jimmy Johnson, you probably know, they would all come and say, can you tell me what you learned from seeing? It was the most unbelievable teaching. So he goes, come to Richmond, I'll meet you there. And of course, your daddy was at this is V6 push car. I was in a Buick. Well, Buick had in the V6s. Nobody could run.
Every time he gets on the mound.
Well, your dad was so smart. He goes, okay, for the first afternoon,
he delivers.
We're going to time you on these two poles.
Didn't find the plate for a ball.
And all I'm timing is from that pole to that pole. And I'm going to find out if you can drive.
Lily misses again. The count is 3-1.
Don't worry about a lap time. You love your daddy. Your daddy says, lap time is engine, gear, and getting off the corner.
Hey, me,
driving is getting in through these
killing me.
We went to lunch.
That wasn't a bad display by the pitcher. You've got to credit the batter for showing a lot of patience and working.
Your dad and I only got in there. He goes, I'm making you lunch. He makes me a frickin' bologna sandwich on stale bread. Should have been he's probably full of poison. We ate it. The second after lunch, we're going in 3 and 4 between these two poles.
That's what happens when you let a base runner take a big lead. That
let's
was no
switch
contest.
cars.
Easy bag.
So I want to drive to see why that thing's doing it.
The manager is
so
going to come out of the dugout
I got
and talk
in his
to the
car.
umpire.
You probably said his car. I almost got nauseous.
The skipper is going to
I was
chat
up
with the
on
umpire.
The wheel. I thought I was in a lazy. I was back like that. I lost my equilibrium because his seat was back.
Got him.
People don't realize he wasn't sitting up. He was laying down. You know what I'm talking about.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Here's a right-handed hitter that does something
door top,
well.
his
Hitting
eyes
for an
are
average.
Yeah, right there.
That's true.
And that's because
47
I told him, I
season,
said,
and batters
I can't
own this
drive
guy
you.
with a season average
He
of
got me my
319.
gold card license. Well, if he was there and NASCAR officials was there, that a gold card
try
knows
to make the hitter chase your pitch. That's
you could drive
exactly what you saw
anything.
right there.
Whenever you showed up at track, you show that,
There's a
and you
called
got it.
strike.
And you know, I drove
really needs a big hit
NHRA.
from
I
this guy.
drag
right
race
here with
for
that runner on
7
third
years.
base. There's a
Along
lot of
with
ways to get him
to
home. He needs to
NASCAR.
find
I
one.
drove a funny car the whole deal because I had that card. Your dad spent that time with me. So after all this work
That's
him
the
and I did
pitcher's
together,
third walk of the game.
my first race against him was
Walks
in Rocky
always seem to come around
and he
to
took me to the
Falls
infield
behind
in
the
lap
batter,
4.
just never
You
gets
gotta
back
love
into the
it.
at-bat.
He wrecked you?
He wrecked me in lap 4.
After all that?
After all that.
Lily delivers, and it's 1-0.
I guess there's a price for the gold card, and you just got it.
That was it.
So let's step back a
Curveball
little
is
bit.
up for a
What
ball.
got you into coaching?
He's tallied one
Well,
win
it's kind
and
of
4
funny.
losses on the season.
I always knew I was going to be a football player.
Why?
when I was playing, I'd have to go. My coaches said, "Why'd you get up and go there?" Because I know the place. How do you know the place? I can see that halfback cheating to the outside about 2 inches. Because you can run, I can read what's going to happen. And it wasn't something I studied. I didn't go dedicate my life to it. It all came pretty natural. It was like you being a driver. I could just do it. And so I when I was a sophomore in high school, I told everybody I'd coach the Detroit Lions. Lo and behold, my first pro job, I was coaching the Detroit Lions. And I went into high school coaching. And you'll love this story. In 1964, I was a high school defensive coach. Are you guys ready? Making $4,800. And 10 years later, I'm the defensive coordinator.
Good job there to hit it hard enough to get through the
That's all you got to do.
How'd that happen?
And I never applied for a job.
There's a strike with the changeup.
In those days, unlike today, your resume was on film.
Hit to the
so
right
they would
side.
watch film and say, who was coaching?
Side
who was doing it? And you get a job. I went to Western
into the bottom of the second. The Red Sox lead by
Coach
2.
there. We were so good, Georgia Tech called.
This right-handed hitter
So
pretty
I
solid
was in Western Kentucky, coach at Georgia Tech. Now at Georgia Tech, we were so good, the pros came out. George Allen, the Redskins came out. Detroit, and I never applied for a job in Western. I'm in the NFL for 35 years, coaching and driving at the same time.
Yeah. So when you go to a place like Western Kentucky,
he's rounding first.
So you were at Western Kentucky 1 year.
Right.
So what do you, when you go into a program like that, what's the tricks to turning something good?
Well, it's kind of funny. We never lost it. 2 years ago, we were in Canada. We were coaching up in the CFL. Went from last to first. Western Kentucky, last place to first place. Georgia Tech.
What's the trick?
Really,
Called strike.
The trick for me is I'm not locked into we got to do it this way. I'm locked into what you can do. Let's say
in the count, 0-2.
You can play man. You can play zone. I won't put you in man. I won't put you in zone. And I sort of, it's kind of funny, this year a guy at Michigan called me and said, how can you be number 1 on third down defense?
Strike 3, he got him.
And
after 2 innings, Toronto trails by 2.
You got to ask me what team I had. I didn't play the same thing on any team. And it was kind of funny. Your daddy said, you have the ability, Jared, to have the longest straightaway in racing. And I didn't know what he's talking about. I'm a football coach. And I said, Dale, how the hell do I get the longest straightaway? He goes, I love you're first in the gas, whether the car's ready or not. and he picked that up like that. Well, years later, Ernie Elliott was building my motors, and Ernie says, Jerry,
he puts the
you
first
give my motor
with
the
a walk.
longest straightaway
Nothing
racing.
positive
And I
comes out of this guy nibbling. He's falling behind, he's falling behind, he
5
finally
years
wants
ago.
to
Isn't that amazing? And because I had no patience. So in racing, if I was at Milwaukee on a short track, I'm going
throw
to
is not in time.
Because everybody just driving so
that guy had a
slow. I have
huge
no
lead over
patience.
there.
And I'm a football
The pitcher
coach.
fell asleep
And
and
I
forgot
finally
all
say,
about
the
it.
heck with it. I'm passing. And I jump out of the groove, and the next thing, I hit the wall up there about 4 years in a row. But if you give me a little banking, like I was very, very good at Michigan, very, very good at California.
Look for the alert to stay
Third in
at third.
Vegas. You love. I got in so much trouble in Vegas. I was running in Vegas, and you'd love this. A guy named Harvick was running number 1.
The count is even
And the
at
guy
2.
was driving.
He averages about 6 strikeouts per 9 innings, a respectable
And I
number.
was 3, and that I think
They
we
check
could have
down
won
at
the race.
third.
We went into caution,
3
and we used to
2.
finish us. So now I'm in the pits. And
Runners on
the
first
crowd's
and
going
second
wild.
with
Coach,
the
you
walk.
took third. The crowd's
Oh, it's
going
too bad he
wild.
watched
I
this
didn't
guy.
take
He just
third.
lets him get away.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You took third. I said, hell, I did. I was first 4. They took that camera and left me so fast. People don't know my
Fastball
contract.
for a strike.
You got paid first, second, or third, fourth. And that was better money than NASCAR. So when I looked around and saw a Chevy in the Pontiac in the car, I go, whoa, we got a new motor coming. Let's go build a new engine.
No, wait a second.
Misses
Going back
for
to
a ball.
football, you sort of made a career of taking struggling teams.
That's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't just the college teams. I mean, the Houston
3-1.
Oilers weren't doing anything.
They were 2-8 every year.
The Atlanta Falcons were notoriously bad.
Terrible.
And then this is what I remember, because I lived an hour from Atlanta, and when you came to Atlanta, first of all, you brought a swag. You still got the swag.
If you don't have swag, you got no chance.
And I want to ask you about the swag.
By the way, go back to him instead.
When he faces left-handed
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You both have swag. That's the whole deal.
You got to have it.
Got to have it.
But you took this Atlanta team that was notoriously bad. All of a sudden, Deion Sanders is coming to Atlanta, right?
One ball and one strike.
And now y'all are a playoff.
He's got a handful of pitches to choose from.
It was unbelievable. 112 games.
You were a rock star.
Yeah.
Which is low.
It was awesome.
They've set that defense at double play depth.
How did you manage all that? And meanwhile, you got Earnhardt in your ear trying to get you to quit and be a race car driver.
Right.
Like at some point, you would think that this becomes a little much for somebody. But how did you manage all this?
I just,
Walk number
like
7.
my mama used to say.
Safe to say he has no idea where the ball's
We were
going.
a race family.
The next batter is Lance
Her dad had the
Berkman.
best dodge, the fastest everything. And all the while I'm coaching football, she'd run the race.
Lilly delivers, and it's 1-0.
And it was kind of funny. Racing in Toledo.
Painted the inside corner.
Don't try to do too much here. Just try to loft one into the
trying
outfield.
to get around.
Misses for a
We
ball.
come in second. My mom meets me in the infield at 84 years. She says, all you had to do is bump him one time and push him out.
Just 2-2.
So that's who we were. That's who the family was.
Sounds to me like you were a racer at heart. And then football
Hey,
might
falls
have
behind.
taken a
Makes
back
great
seat to that. Am I
pitch,
wrong?
comes all the way back and gets the strike.
Both.
Okay.
And people say, which did you like
Up
best?
next, Manny Ramirez.
I had two great things I loved to do.
The delivery.
And it was unbelievable. You guys have had Kenny Schrader on the
Lilly
show.
throws him with a hook
Did
for a
not
strike.
matter where I was. It did. I'm in Monroe, Washington. I'm in Odessa, Missouri. And I'd look over, and who am I racing? Kenny Schrader. And he'd say, Coach, nobody knows you race all the
And
time.
on 3 pitches, he's
And
gone.
then I had an
After
entry
2.5, the score is 2-0.
I ran a 160 feet per second. Nobody knows. We were the fastest.
This guy's pretty good against right-handed pitchers.
So you can't take away that fact. You can't ruin those memories. Meanwhile, there's nothing like winning a playoff game on the road in football. It's all good stuff. When you come and kick it, it's like that. When you come and kick it,
He reaches
the
for the
hair on
leadoff
your arm,
single.
but it looked like me
I've
coming
seen
out
this
of
guy
turn
make these
4
kinds of
for
plays
somebody
before.
to
This
say,
time
"Green,
out, a
green."
little short.
And you know what I'm talking about. You're sitting up on that seat. Let's get it on. Football. And they're both team sports. There's no individual. You can't win a game with an individual guy in football. And you learn in racing. The first
This guy's a
cup
prime candidate
car
trying
I
to swipe
drove
it back right here.
was metal yellow for Felix Sabates. Well, I thought I was the greatest driver ever. It took
Strike
me 10
with a
years to sit in a
fastball.
car that good again. You know, it's a team's got to put that car together.
So, as a coach in the NFL,
Davis holds off, and it's 1-2.
most people are going to remember you from the Atlanta Falcons days. Y'all became larger than life, sort of mainstream. There was
You're huge.
Ground ball pulled down to the left side.
video, Deion Sanders, and
He's on
things,
with a
right?
single.
So, when I talk about, like I missed you. I don't know if it's healthy to miss that after you retire. I'm sure you miss some things about coaching, but what do you miss the most? What about those days, or maybe it was your time in high school coach? I don't know. What do you miss the most?
Well, the fact that, see, I coached, I lost 2 jobs last year coaching with the virus. So I was coaching in the XFL.
I don't think sacrifice bunch of this guy's special.
I think now, Dale, you're going to die when I tell you this. I think I'm the best coach now that I've ever been. I think I do a better teaching job than I did when I was in 1974.
Slow roller towards short.
1974, I'm the youngest
And he's
defensive
safe
coordinator
at first.
in the NFL. Now it's whatever the year is, I'm still the best guy at that. And if you can do it, you do it. You know?
So you're still coaching.
I'm still coaching. I coached this year in the XFL, and then I went off to the Spring League, and I coached there. And both jobs, we got shut down. The teams got divided.
David
Last
makes the
year,
catch
2
for
years
the
ago,
out.
I was the defensive coordinator at Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Nothing special about that one.
We
Just
went
pick up
from
the ball, got
last
a feet on it, made
to
the play.
first. 2 years ago.
Comes to the plate.
Now, I didn't
always
finish
an
where I
adventure
wanted
with
in my
this
last
righty in the
one.
box.
Your daddy taught me. I had
This
a
dude just
Detroit.
knows how to steal a
What did I
bat.
tell
He
you?
studies
You
film,
better
he studies
know.
pictures, and he can try to apply
And he'd
all
say,
that right now.
you can turn the car with the right rear tire.
Misses outside.
When you get in trouble, more gas and tank. Well, this year I'm down in Cordele, and I hit the riser where somebody blew a motor, and I'm heading right straight for the wall. So I get after it.
Retired with 2
and
runners
it has
stranded.
What do they call it? It's got a spool. Guess what? I went right into the freaking wall. And I thought right then, I should have realized Detroit, you could run the Detroit Locker, but you have to carry another 150 pounds. That's the rules in FLS. I'll never drive a spool again because for years you're turning the car with the right rear tire, and then all of a sudden you got a spool, and you just got to keep your momentum up as you don't keep on going through there.
Yeah.
So because they switched the rear end on me, I went knee deep and ruined that Camaro. In fact, you love my spotters, B.J. Fisher, great guy.
Pitch taken for a ball.
And B.J.'s up in it. He goes, he's dead. He goes, Jimmy, he says, you can't hit that hard without dying. He goes, oh, he hits hard a lot. He'll be okay. I said, no, he's done. He goes, if he is, I don't know who that is walking across the infield with his helmet in his hand.
The pitcher had chances to end that.
I ruined my whole year because we were scheduled to do 7 races. And I ruined my whole daggone year.
What kind of car is it?
It's not a left-hander, but
I know
it's
the
something
infielders
like
are
that.
thinking, too, they're going to need a pretty well-hit ground ball here because this guy flies out of the batter's box.
Big-time chassis. Yeah.
Where do you race at?
I was down in Cordele, Georgia. They race it
A 3-pitch
in Florida.
strikeout.
And
His timing was way off.
the average age driver is 19. And they're all guys that are real good here, and they're trying to work their way up. And they're owners say, if you get behind the coach, follow. You'll get 50 years learning if you follow. Well, this poor kid could take coaching. I went right into the wall. He went right into the wall behind me.
He's hitting 268.
You told me to follow him. Don't follow him into the wall, you know?
When Coach was telling me this stuff the other day, I was talking to him on the phone, and I couldn't wrap my head around. He was telling me about this racing deal, and I said, Coach, wait a second. Are you telling me that you own the car, and so you were down there watching? And do you remember what you said to me? Because I was.
I don't go and watch.
He's like, I don't go if I'm not driving.
No, and it was no fun. It's kind of funny. I went and watched Junior win his last race at Tampa.
Line straight up the
and
middle.
The people knew I was there because I don't go there often. And when he won, they said, "You go in there, and you be the first guy when he gets out to win."
The Blue Jays has some activity down in their
won the
pen.
race. And I got to say this for his show. People don't realize there's 2 guys. I was real
This
close
lefty
to
hitter has a really good eye.
There's 2
for left-handed
guys
pitching.
that if they wreck, have to stay
Misses for a ball.
If you're at Indianapolis 500 and A.J. Foyt broke or got in a wreck, they
Fastball
packed up the
misses
coolers and
upstairs.
left. This guy,
The scouting report
if he
tells me
wrecks
that
at
runner will not be
Talladega,
rounding third
he'll
on a
stay
hit to
in
right
there.
field.
that's
That guy out
something.
there's got one of
You
the
talk
best
about
arms in the
14
league.
trophies. You talk about all
Sometimes
that
you
other
try to
stuff.
make the hitter
That's
chase
the
your
only
pitch.
2
Exactly what you
drivers.
saw right there.
When they got out of the race, the stadium empty. That's amazing. When I wrecked, everybody cheered. It was different. You know?
That's
He gives up the
so. All right,
base on
you were
balls.
saying that you saw him in Victory Lane.
Yeah.
And so,
And the first thing he said, he says, the last time I saw you, Coach, I thought you were going to
When
kick
this
my
guy
butt.
steps in against
He's
left-handed
talking about the
pitching,
incident.
do you remember seeing him in Victory Lane? Yeah. That's how can you forget, right?
So you're still coaching, you know, when the right opportunity comes along.
Right.
Somebody calls you up and says, "Hey man, you want?"
Sometimes you
gone.
try to
You're
make the
ready.
hitter chase your pitch.
You're still
That's
racing.
exactly what you
So
saw right there.
let's go back and we asked you a little bit about, you know, why racing. So your family was heavy into cars and speed and all that.
Right.
But what was the first race car? What was the first race? What was the first car? What was the where were you when you said, "I want to drive that"?
That'll
You know,
do it as we go to the bottom
We
of the
started
inning.
in drag racing. My
Okay.
brother sitting back there. My brother would build the motor, and I would drive the car.
What kind of car?
We were Fords. We had these big
Going into the bottom of the fourth, the
427
score is
cubic
2-0.
You know, we could run. We thought we were really, really good. And then the
digs in
Chrysler
at the plate.
people asked us to come up to the Chrysler factory and race them. And Richard said, my brother, we're never racing a factory team again.
Out of
We're
the
in a
zone,
factory
that's
team,
a ball.
but we were a good team.
Yeah. Where were y'all racing?
In Ohio.
Ohio.
All through it.
Okay.
And raced everywhere in
He hits it
Michigan.
over towards second.
And it was kind of neat because
One
when I
out.
went back, how about this? When I was a high school kid, I taught drivers that. How about that? And now, when I raced at Michigan, I came in third at Michigan.
Yeah.
When I raced at Michigan, all the students I taught driver ed to came to the race.
Really?
They all said, "You didn't drive like you taught us."
Makes the routine catch.
My God. Your racing bug came initially from drag racing. So
Right.
where were you when you said, I want to go drive a stock car or anything on an oval? What was how did that happen?
I was a coach at the Oilers.
Okay.
And being in Georgia,
Mrs. Hot.
I've been in Atlanta, Georgia Tech. I've been with the Falcons. Now I'm with the Oilers, and Bill Elliott was running and running and running.
That's a
and
great
the
running
Dawsonville.
With 5 innings left to play, the Red Sox
When we
lead
go for
by only
Christmas,
2 runs.
I'm going to go up and see him.
The next batter is Johnny Damon.
I say hello. And we went up there, and Bill was unbelievable. He doesn't talk to many people. If anybody takes
just off the plate, 1-0.
Line.
Sometimes you try to make the
He
hitter
a real
chase
good
your
friend
pitch.
of Bill.
That's
He
exactly
spoke
what
to
you
you
saw
twice.
right there.
So I go up
swiped
there
one
and
base.
talk, and then he has me go with Ernie. And Ernie says, you ought to drive a push car.
2 balls
I
and
goes,
1
really?
strike.
He goes, you'd love it, and you'd be good at it.
Here it comes.
And we got to get you to push car. And that's how.
3-1.
So you drove a Busch car. That was the first car that was the first oval?
How about the first oval I drove was in Atlanta in mellow yellow
3-2.
because Kyle Petty broke a leg out in Phoenix, I think.
And he takes the walk.
And Felix
He's going to have to
Sabatos
start throwing
got
more
me and
strikes
said,
if he
"We
wants to
want
stay
you
in
in
this
this
ball
car."
game more than a few innings.
And I got in there and I was
Berkman
practicing. And
strolls to the
NASCAR
plate.
said, you cannot run these tracks without any experience. And
The
NASCAR
runner's
said,
moving.
we're going to put you in a Busch car, but
And
you
he's
got to
safe
run
just ahead of the
Myrtle
throw.
Beach,
Well, there's a
Felucia.
perfect example of a pitcher
Yeah.
forgetting
It
all
was
about
kind
that
of funny.
baseline. He got a
The
big lead
NASCAR
and
guys looked at
stole
me
it
and
easily.
said, "They've sent you to hell." If somebody told me I had to run all those, I went and ran
Taken
all
for a
those
ball.
tracks against.
Okay, runners are
How
tied.
about this?
If you're
You
on
wanna know
second,
who I
the
was
ball's
racing
hit
against?
behind you,
I was going to run
bury
for
your head
Rookie
and
of
run
the Year.
for
I was
third. Let's see
53rd.
if the batter can deliver on that ground ball.
And the other rookie was a guy 18. His name was Jeff Gordon. How about that?
Yeah.
And who was
Two
who
balls,
was
2
running in that
strikes.
class? Are you ready? You remember Presley?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Mr. Excitement, Jimmy
That's
Spencer,
7
the
strikeouts.
Burton brothers, the Labanis?
Hey, Kai, if he was
I-
able to get ahead of the
I'm
count, the
racing.
batter
and
never
I
caught
says,
up. Good
"These
striking.
guys are good." Well, they all went on. It became, in fact, Presley
Up next,
surprised me
Manny
because your
Ramirez.
dad, when he'd come to the Busch race, loved to race Presley.
Yeah, they were rough.
Oh, they would rough each
Taken
other
for a
up.
ball.
Was it fun to watch?
Oh, yeah.
Bumper to bumper, banging each other. And when he went to the Cup, he must have never got
Taken
the
for a
set
ball.
because he wasn't as
That
good
was
in
a
the Cup
purpose
as in the
pitch.
Busch.
A change-up off the plate, hoping
And
the
Jimmy
batter would go
Spencer
chasing.
was awesome. I went to Atlanta.
High
Remember
for
Jimmy
a ball.
Spencer went to TV?
Sometimes you
Yep.
try to make the hitter
Jimmy
chase your pitch.
Spencer,
That's
I'm going to
exactly
pardon me.
what
I'm
you
going
saw
to race
right
in
there.
Michigan. He comes down and he goes, "Coach, what are you doing?"
Hey, what's the record for
He
most
says, "You
walks in a
can't
game?
race this car here."
Walks
Because that's the car I
always
got.
seem to come around to hurt you.
can't race
Falls
that car. You
behind
might as
the
well go
batter, just
home.
never gets
And I
back
said,
into the at-bat.
"Can I race it? You won with this car 3 years ago." He goes, "We've left
One ball
that
to no
technology.
strikes.
We've
Double play
left that
situation.
design.
Pitcher's
My
got to
stuff
try and
was
keep the
never
ball
new."
down here to force the hitter to
Well,
hit
we
the ball on
came
the
in
ground.
third, chasing a guy named Kyle Busch. It was Kyle Busch and me coming around that track. Wasn't bad, you know.
Yeah.
So we've had that kind of fun.
Did I miss? I gotta go back. Did you just say that before you ever
Ortiz
actually
with a swing
entered a
and
Busch
a miss,
race,
strike
your first
3.
car was the mellow yellow car that was the Cup car for Kyle Petty.
For Kyle Petty.
And so your first laps around an oval was in a
Dirksen
Cup
gets ahead,
car
1
for
ball
Felix
and no
Sabatos.
strikes.
And NASCAR
Sometimes
says
you try to
you
make
can't
the
go
hitter
out
chase
there and do
your
this.
pitch. That's
You have
exactly what you
zero
saw right
experience.
there.
Yeah, when I came there,
The
I
count's
showed
even
up
at
then
1.
for the practice day, and I was in a Ford now.
Swings and misses.
They didn't know I was in the car. And I went out there and ran, and then they found out I was in the car, and they said, "Hey, well, where have you run?" I
Taken
said, "Well, I
for
was
a
here in a
ball.
Pontiac with the Mellow Yellow. It was a practice day."
Felix
He
said
goes,
hop in there and take some laps.
It's
Yeah,
hit
and he
out
goes,
to left.
We can't let you race. You've never raced it.
Third out, we go to the bottom of the
All right,
inning.
so yeah,
How about that?
Good job
NASCAR
on the ball
pulls me
for
out.
back
Yeah,
underneath the
Hey,
cage.
hey, guess who my spotter is? Harry Hyde.
What?
Yeah, Harry Hyde's my spotter. He's
After
he
4 and a
tell me,
half,
Coach,
the Blue Jays
he's coming
trail
up
by
on your
2.
outside. Stay down, but get in the gas.
Every day of his life is like a hangover. I mean, like, what were you about to say, though?
well, I was just trying to paint the picture in my head, like that Felix probably, Kyle's they're testing. Probably don't have any. Probably who knows who's testing the car for him because Kyle's hurt. So he calls Jerry up and says, "Come take a lap." I can see Felix doing that.
And guess who the crew chief was? He became
Jerry Nelson.
Yeah. And guess what? How about this? When he set the car up, I thought I was on a railroad track.
Oh, yeah.
The car, Bill Elliott says, "I've been chasing you all day. I can't get you." I go, "It ain't me. I'm just pointing it and standing on it."
Yeah.
In Atlanta those days,
have a right-hander up in the bullpen.
was half-mile corners, quarter-mile straightaway.
Right.
And if you wanted to be fast, you had to roll through the corners wide open, as you know, man. Yeah. I had a ball.
So he goes out there, tests the car. Then he brings his own car, his Ford, to a true test. And he's out there running, and NASCAR walks over and goes, "Hey, Jerry, what experience do you have? Where have you ran? Because you're planning on running this race."
That's another base hit.
Zip. They're like, "Well, you got to go.
Davis will hit next.
Myrtle Beach, Volusia County." So they send him on a lot. Rougemont, rough.
Hickory.
I
had to go to
Hold up. He's like, "Hold up. I got a gold card. What does that get me?"
So NASCAR's like, "You know what? Before you can run Atlanta, we need you to go tear this car up a bunch and
the pitches hit the
go to these short tracks. That's sure to tear it up."
David puts it away.
How about this? I gave Rusty Wallace the schedule they gave me.
He didn't get all that.
Rusty looked at it. I quit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. Just what he said.
Right.
Because of the tracks were just notorious for being
And
wrecked.
he went and did it, though. I remember, he went and ran them all.
Ran everyone.
So you ended up, I remember that. So you're running the Xfinity races or the Busch races.
Yeah,
you also
2 hours.
got into truck series, ran some truck races.
They asked me, remember, there was a chassis builder here in town, Lofty.
Yeah.
And he did my chassis in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
He called me. He goes, "I'm building you a truck." I goes, "What
You
you
pull the
talking
bat
about?"
back
He
in
goes, "Building
time.
a truck series. It is you. Yeah, it is you." And I said, "I don't know anybody." He goes,
Strike three, and he'll take a seat.
And that's how I got it. So the first year they ever had a truck
You
series,
were in it.
I was in it. And I
that makes
ran the
sense.
truck series for 7 years. But
After 5 innings,
because
the
of
Red
football
Sox
and
lead by
TV,
2.
I could run half a year, and then I'd have to go to work. So like the first year, if you look on the records, it says I finished 18th. I'm 18th and ran half the races. I'm a 4th or 5th guy, but we have to leave because I was calling the football games.
Mahomes
on,
takes inside
Fox
for a
and,
ball.
CBS.
Let me ask you a question. You weren't racing. So when you were the coach of the Falcons, you were the coach. Your last year with the Falcons as a head coach was in 1993. You hadn't raced competitively in NASCAR at that point, right?
Well,
He delivers.
in '91, when all the other coaches were golfing, I would go to a
Hey,
race.
he gets strike one. He just keeps
So I
plowing
was
away from the
driving
strikeout.
91, 92, 93.
Driving
but,
what?
cars in practice at tracks.
Next up,
Was there?
And then I qualified in Atlanta. You'll die. So now I'm the head coach, and I qualify in Atlanta in the
Here's
Busch.
the pitch.
And we're going to run, and you're going to love this. To my right is Harry Gant. A guy named Dale Earnhardt's in front of me. A guy named Dale Jarrett's behind me. I goes, "This is going to be awesome."
Takes slow.
And we woke up the
It's
next
a
day.
good hard cutter
at
right
2
there,
feet of
trying to
snow.
make it beneficial.
And who would have known what would have happened if we when they
Canceled the race.
cancel the race? The snow was that deep. When they reschedule it, we're playing the Rams. I can't do that.
I remember when that race happened. And I remember that because they
did
canceled
not
the
have a
race.
chance.
Dad was driving
Miss
the Busch car with Tony Sr. as crew chief, and Rick Bost and all those guys. They just built the farm shop, so we're back at the farm shop on Monday, and they unload the backup car, and the block had busted because it froze all the water.
He swiped 2 bases.
That dad was so pissed off at Tony Sr. and them and they were all pissed off at each other
And another
because
strike to make
they
it
had
0-2.
forgotten to drain the block, so that motor busted.
The pipe froze.
Let me tell you about racing back there. Looked like you're not going to qualify to get in the race.
Gathers it in
Remember
with
Chad
his glove.
Miller?
It's a
A guy like
1-2-3
Chad
inning.
Miller races. If you
After
don't
5 and a
qualify,
half, the Red
I'll carry your
Sox
spot
lead
for
by
you.
2.
We'd break a rear end.
Next up to play,
You wouldn't
Mark
believe it.
Teixeira.
I got a rear end.
He delivers.
Racing then was so
He
family,
belts it
and
way back.
everybody wanted to beat your butt,
Gone.
but everybody would do anything to help you. Am I right?
Yeah.
It was really awesome.
Let me ask you a question. So Mike talked about it with how did you have time to race and to coach and do all that. Was there ever a time when the owners of these football teams were like, hey, you're spending a little bit too much time racing? Was there ever a time when the two might have gotten away of the other or not? I mean, it seems like at some point, because you got heavy into the racing, like you really did.
But I really got heavy into the racing when I went to TV.
Right.
So when you saw me racing, I was a TV broadcaster. And you know how that is.
Did that ever?
It's like having a Henry.
Did those two ever kind of get in the way of each other?
No, in fact, Fox was great because they were trying to get Fox out of NASCAR. So Fox would come out and film me, and that was part of their package to sell it. So I was at Topeka Road Course, right? And I'm not only racing at Topeka, I got Fox cameras in my truck. And guess who I raced in Topeka? Guess who drove the
misses.
Can you trade it?
Guy named Rick Hendricks.
Oh,
how about that? Remember he got in the truck there. I always see it.
He did.
Yeah.
Who won?
Oh gosh, probably Skinner. I can't remember. Skinner. And there was a guy. Skinner had it down. Yeah. And see, we wasted, and Junior, I never should have won it. We could get it in our right. We got a shot. We could get in the bush.
That's 4
we
strikeouts.
Could never. We didn't have truck knowledge, which I found out later was
partner, that was the swing
rubber,
guy who was not expecting a breaking
spring,
ball.
not a round. The truck won't turn. They can put 10 rounds in there. It ain't turning. You got to have a spring rubber, and we did not have that knowledge. So we had to hit on it and be lucky to be there to get up front. Like I qualified third at Phoenix. They said, how could you do that without that knowledge? I took my left foot and stood on my right foot and said, if we die. That's the only way we could get there. And I wasted that time because we didn't have the right. Now Skinner and Hornaday, they could turn like a car. The rest of us.
What did you enjoy driving the most? The car was probably the most enjoyable racing.
Well, I love Arca because I'll tell you about Richard Petty. I'm at Richmond and I'm in the trucks, and they brought about 10 cup cars to run the race. So my goal was to beat every cup car. So I qualified like 14th or 15th.
Coming to the plate with one single today, burning well.
Qualified 14th. I've seen you sit on a pole at
line drive right to the shortstop.
I said, Rick, it's the same motor. Look at me.
He's around second.
Not too much. And he said,
there's a double.
They only show up.
It looked like he was going to get jammed.
They don't realize how you can drive. I know how you can drive. How many races you got in this motor?
This ball misses in.
But we still beat every cup guy in the race I was at.
You did?
Yeah. Not one cup guy came up in front of us. That was fun.
But going back to his question, I mean, you said you enjoyed Arca.
Arca gave us a chance to win because everybody was like us.
A liner.
I had DJ Fisher, his wife, Bob Fisher. I had 3 people. And when you go to Arca, a lot of people have 3 people. I raced Kozlowski. He had his brother. How about this? You know this Kozlowski guy racing the boat? He played in my trailer during all the races. He never left the coach's trailer. This is how far back. Why his dad and me got after each other. But so in Arca we had a chance because we had the same knowledge and we had about the same equipment. You go race in the bush. When we were in the bush, we had a setup for the race. Everybody else totally rebuilt the car to qualify. We didn't even know how to do that. So when I qualified, I was qualified on my race set. I was, as you know, I was the only guy. And in fact, if you'll die laughing, if Presley wasn't fast enough, I wasn't stupid. I saw a different carburetor go on that car. They took off, you know. I would have had one carburetor. I couldn't put anything else on.
Sometimes you try to
so one of the things I heard about you that we have in common, actually, is that you're a huge Elvis fan.
After 6,
well, I left tickets for Elvis,
3-2.
and that became huge for me. I was going to practice. We were in Texas. I was coaching the Oilers. And we had the radio on as we're driving over the practice field. And they said, Elvis,
and it's 0-1
in Michigan. This is like in the 80s. So after practice, you have a press conference. And we were playing the New England Patriots in Memphis, the preseason. And I said, well, halftime's dedicated to Elvis. We're going to leave 2 tickets. Well, that became bigger than life. That was bigger than anything anybody's ever done. And by the way, people came and tried to pick up the tickets saying they were Elvis. It was awesome.
1 ball and no strike.
That was a purpose pitch.
I have a room
change up
in
off
my
the
home
plate, hoping the batter would go chasing.
I've had an Elvis room in my house.
The pitcher does not want to fall any further behind this guy, so he should be coming in with something across the plate. Keeping that in mind, this could be a perfect time to hit and run.
He's batting .278 with 3 home runs and 14 runs
all
batted
the guys
in.
that are Elvis Presley and Timmy, they never tried.
Ground ball pulled to the right
if you
side.
listen to the song, you get down. I tell everybody,
Great execution there to get the fine run to second base.
Stepping in, Lance Berkman.
That's interesting.
So what was the
very good
fandom
against
for
left-handed
Elvis? Was that something that your parents had, or your mom, or your grandma, or something
No.
like that, or you just kind of became
That was the years you grew up in. Like I grew up
taken
the
for a
Beatles
ball.
were big. I didn't care about them. Who cares about Ford Lyman's? So they were over here. I didn't care about them. I don't know one song. So I sort of went with my group, which later became Waylon Jennings, guys like that. Became really the guys I listened to. I was a big music guy. Chris Christopherson.
On that note, how did you end up in all this? How many music videos have you been in? And how did that happen?
By the way, one of
The next batter is Manny Ramirez.
which was with the band Confederate Railroad, which is
The country band.
yeah.
Not want to
That
waste too
became
many of
a
his
number
chances.
one.
Let's see if they can come
She
through
took
with a
it
big
like
hit
a
right
man.
now. Learn
Took it like a man.
They played that in every
misses for a
stadium
ball.
we went to. They played that video. I got hit over the head with a beer bottle. Things people love to see. You know? I got flipped out of the back of a pickup truck. I did all my own stunts.
did?
Nobody did my stunts.
I can't imagine there being a stunt double on the planet that could imitate you the way you can do them. So I'd say that's probably right.
The most fun I had, I was invited to be in Hoffa. Remember the movie Hoffa? Yeah.
Hey, partner,
Well, they
it's time
wanted me
now
to
for
be
the
Jack
7th
Nicholson's
inning
bodyguard
stretch.
in a big
Did you
fight.
sing recently?
Well,
Rick?
in that fight,
I
I
sure
got
did.
hit with
When
a
I was in the
baseball.
league, I could pitch in front of
All those
50,000
things
people, but
happen.
that was like
And
going
you
to my
don't feel a
backyard,
thing.
singing the Take
So
Me Out to
the
the Ball
movies
Game
are
at
a little
Wrigley.
bit fake.
I was scared to death.
But I was in the big, huge fight, fighting for Hoffa. That was
Order will be up to start the
and
inning.
I still get residual
I think the
checks.
pitcher should throw to first base just to see if the batter gets
I
away
was
with
in
the
the
butter now.
Sopranos, and now my checks, everybody says, you're living off, my checks now, stamps 42 cents. Some of my checks now are a quarter. 25 cents.
Liner right after third
Oh,
baseman.
man.
How do you get cast in those movies?
Cabrera
Everybody,
made it look easy
all
on that
the
out of
movies,
first
and I
guy.
just did a great movie. You guys
Hey,
see
if
it.
the infield is
You
back,
did
just
this
look
now?
at a bunt, beat it
About
out.
2 years ago.
What was it?
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
The last movie with Burt Reynolds. I think they changed the name of it, so it's The Last Great Movie Star.
Oh.
Look at that movie at Burt Reynolds. They came to me, we shot that movie, and that was Burt Reynolds' last movie before he died.
Who calls you up and says, "Hey, got a spot for you in this movie"? Who's that?
Burt.
Bert called you.
And I never spoke a word to him.
You've never talked to him before, and he called you.
Yeah.
He swiped
Did you
4
believe it
bases.
was him?
Yeah. I knew he was a big football guy.
Oh, okay.
See, people
Yeah,
that
that's
were
right.
at Florida State, he played
Sometimes
in
you try to
the
make the
Sun
hitter
Bowl.
chase your pitch.
It was the
That's exactly
MVP
what you
in
saw
the Sun
right
Bowl, rushed for like 171 yards.
Burt Reynolds was the MVP.
Yeah, how about that?
What? I knew he played. I didn't know he was.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I knew he's good.
You're a big you're
Yeah,
college,
I don't know who's the MVP of the Sun Bowl.
but now it's Burt Reynolds.
Yeah,
Now, I got to tell you this. There wasn't a
Nice pitch
nicer
there to
guy.
get the fly ball.
And he
Nice
taught
work.
me what Richard Petty taught.
The corners are
We
close
did
to the
movie
line.
shoot, and there's a lot of stuff.
Teixeira is next.
He never did not give a fuck. He never did not give a time.
There's a low
Well,
strike
Richard
in the
Petty
zone.
taught me that. So I
Slide
go
over
out and
right
race
through the
at
stripes on
Pikes
the batter,
Peak
just
in
couldn't touch
Colorado.
it.
And the race is over. And my line for my
He
race.
takes the pitch to left. Berkman should have
my,
no problem.
my great race
The
team
catch is
official
made.
told me,
After
they said,
7,
"Jerry,
the score
you
is
sit here,
3-2.
You sign every autograph." Everybody would
This
be
game
gone.
is brought to you by
And he
EA
just said,
Sports. EA Sports is
I
in the
learned that.
game.
You learn something from everybody. Dale Jarrett. I mean, well, how do you know Dale Jarrett? He taught me how to get through Charlotte Motor Speedway.
This lefty's really got a knack for hitting right-handed pitchers. And he
Stay
takes the
in the
fastball up
gas on
high.
the corners.
Looked like the pitcher and
He
catcher
says,
have a
the more
strategy
gas
in
you're
mind.
in,
So far,
the
the
more
batters
you
are
get
taking
around
these
it.
pitches.
Well, I wouldn't have known that. And he'd walk up and tell me, like, I'd take off and be. In fact, I got in a wreck with, I think he was a cousin of mine, Carey.
Yeah, my brother.
In foul
Your brother.
territory,
He's
makes
running
the
second.
catch.
I'm running third.
The Blue Jays
And lo
have
and
someone
behold,
tossed in the
and I
bullpen.
see his left rear tire go off the track into the grass. I go, oh, brother. I swing up at the top and mash it, and it came right up. Made me
Cut on
sick.
and miss.
I used to have an XM radio show, and Burt Reynolds came on it.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Burt Reynolds was a guest. Like
It's a line drive.
we
the
only
other
wanted
way.
him on the show because we were
Dirksen is aboard with
Oh,
one
he
out.
was a great guy.
Super nice. Came on our stupid show and sat there and let's talk to
Skipper's
us.
got to give
and
the
answer
bunch
every
some
question
thought
we
here.
had.
Every
That's
run
awesome.
counts.
Yeah. Do we know what the name of the movie
The
was?
runner at first is
Yeah, I
off,
looked at it. It's the
and he's out at first base.
The last movie.
yeah, the last
Check it
one.
out.
They changed it.
Did you have a big role?
Whoever casted
Next up with one run batted in, Miguel Cabrera.
There you go.
It was a tough
This is
act.
outside.
Sometimes
If I'm doing a movie and I need a football coach, I know I'm calling.
right there.
In sports, if you think joy
Started to
only
swing at
happens
that
after
pitch, but he
you win,
held up
think
in
again.
time.
Look at the world's most successful athletes. They don't spend all their days grinding away.
Pitch taken for a
They
ball.
take time to enjoy themselves, like having Michelob Ultra with friends, because they know that happiness is the key to winning. And
Four-pitch
joy
walk.
is the whole
This
game,
is a
not just the end game.
full-fledged
Michelob
walkathon.
Ultra, 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. All right, so you kind
It's
of
a
coached
ground ball
off and
the
on.
other
You stopped
way.
coaching the Atlanta Falcons.
Out
in
number
93.
3 with 2 men left
Coached
on
Hawaii,
base.
defensive coordinator
After
in
7 and a
2005.
half, the
Big
score
break
is
there.
3-2.
That's when I was racing and doing
Right.
television.
And so you did television for a while. What I'm getting at, I guess what I want to know is you're still racing today. All right.
Bringing in
Where,
a righty
and you,
to face
you
the right-handed
said when you
hitter is a
sat
good
down,
move,
you
Mark,
ran
because it
over
creates a
100
mismatch
different
in the pitcher's
races.
favor.
100 different
All
Because-
from coast to coast.
Because I ran Southern All-Stars.
You ran the Southern All-Stars.
Okay, so think of the
They
track.
got 'em.
That was 2 guys from Georgia and 50 guys from Alabama. I raced against Red Farmer and Davey Lee and Jerry Glenn. That was the 3 guys racing.
What's the outfielder?
Then I ran Hooter Spoka. So who was I racing? Mario Gosling.
He reaches
And I think he has a team now, doesn't he, somewhere? And the series go, I ran Winston West. Who did I run in Winston West? I ran Kevin Harvick every race. Then I ran Arthur. Who won an Arthur? A guy named Kozlowski. It was just awesome.
How are you putting? How do you put together your deals?
If ever they're gonna steal
Because
a
those
bag, it's
series
right now,
are
this guy. He
geographically
really knows how to steal a
all
bag.
over the map.
All over.
So like you got a partnership that's out west, and they're like, hey, let's go run the West Series. Let's
They
see,
turned
let's
the
take our
double
deal out
play.
there to a
That
to a
pitcher
West
really
team.
needed that
Like, how are
defensive
you
play
putting these
behind
deals
him. He
together?
got the double
You're
play.
unbelievable. Your knowledge is scary. We're in Vegas running the Winston West.
With 1 inning
We
left to
come in
play,
for
the score is
Winston
3-2.
In 2 days.
Bringing in the
we're
righty
racing
right here is a
Lake
good move
Florida
because
Hooter
right-handed
Spoka.
hitters can have trouble
That
picking up
car
his
is
breaking
in the
pitches.
race. That's our second car, is our Hooter Spoka. We load up and we never stop till we pull in Florida, sign up, and go race.
Here we go.
We're
This is
crazy.
what it's all about, big
Damn,
boy.
That's some Kenny
that
Schrader
is
kind of
crazy.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
Kenny Schrader. By Kenny Schrader, I told him. He flew. I drove the rig. I used to race your dad's
You drove the rig?
I drove the rig. And we raced your dad's rig after every bush race. We had more fun racing home with the rigs than we did on the track. And in fact, I was pulling out of Charlotte, and the guy stopped
cuts
me.
it off.
You're the second
They
race
make
car
the play
driver
at
ever
first.
to drive the rig out here.
Yeah.
Up next, Johnny
And I said,
Damon.
He goes, and the other guy drove a Western Star just like you. I said, who was it? He said, A.J. Foot. I go, not bad company. Let me go, man.
Swung right through the
Drove my own
inside
rig every
pitch.
race.
What were you telling me about having police badges?
Oh, you got to have a police.
And I have a feeling this probably
Misses away for
helps
a
you out
ball.
with the rigs.
Yeah. Well, what happens is when you drive like I do,
The ball
you
is
got to put one
pulled
of
to the
those
right
out.
side.
You got to have one for every state.
So
They will
this could be
chase
their
it.
last out.
I got
Next
picked up in
Lance
Georgia,
Brookman.
100-mile-an-hour speed limit. But luckily, in Dawson County, you weren't allowed to get Bill Elliott or Jerry Glever to take it.
You know where you go.
I don't know if Chase got
Fastball
that
for a
privilege, but
strike.
we had it.
Unbelievable.
Hey, let me ask you something unrelated. We all know Wikipedia can be wrong. When I read your
Right,
Wikipedia,
great way to end the game if you're on
Well,
the pitcher's team.
I want you to tell me where this is wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Glanville vehemently
have won 2
opposed
straight
Falcons
games.
general manager selection of Brett
The
Favre
Toronto Blue
in the
Jays
second round of the
win it
91
by
NFL
1.
draft, citing Favre's personal issues with alcohol and his party lifestyle. He said it would take a plane crash for him to put Favre into a game. Glanville also was known to place $100 bets with Favre and others on whether or not Favre could throw a football into the third deck of stadiums before games. Favre only threw 4 passes during his one season with Atlanta. Then he was traded to the Green Bay Packers in the 92 offseason for a first-round draft pick. Any of that incorrect?
About most of it.
Okay, good.
Just about most of it. My brother was in the draft room.
Really?
They wanted me to draft Favre, the first pick. And they wanted me to take the guy who went to New York, right, Rich? You got to look at the guy that went to New York. They wanted me to take. I said, I'm not taking it. He says, you got to take it. I said, I'm not taking it. I need another wide receiver. And they said, well, then take Favre, I guess. I'm not taking Favre in the first round. So I was mad. I took the receiver who was the leading receiver out of Colorado. I got him out of Colorado. Was the leading receiver the next year, the guy I took. And I took Favre the second round. So I was thrilled to death. I got Favre and I got him. But Favre's the only guy I've ever coached that didn't show up for the team picture.
Oh, that was a problem. Man.
We had he was young, he was foolish, he was doing things he shouldn't have done. And I went all over and tried to talk people into not giving him free drinks. Nobody, he was a show wherever he went. And it was always obvious he could play. And he had the toughness of a linebacker at quarterback position. And when you're tough at quarterback, that permeates through your whole team. That's like I love Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch, I don't care what team he goes to, they all get tougher. Am I right?
Yeah.
And that's the way, I look for stuff like that. But you have to sometimes decide, is the guy bigger than the team, then you're not going to have a team. And you got rules, and if a guy can't follow any of the rules, you got to move on.
Well, he was immature.
That's all.
He matured.
That's all. And it's kind of funny. His dad later came, because